Welcome back, guys. It's Death Racer Chevy here with the 32nd Reaper Division, and we're going to be doing some Search and Destroy. Now, this match is particularly special to me because this was one of the few matches that I actually had in ranked play. As some of you may know or may not know, I actually did kind of give up on ranked play simply because I was having really bad issues as far as being able to connect with teammates that were going to actually be not necessarily competent, but at least working towards the objectives and not just focusing on their own singular stats. That tends to happen a lot when people are playing in different game modes or game modes that they're not necessarily familiar with. They kind of seep into what they only know how to do, which in a lot of times that means either kill or kind of play it very slow. And in something like Search and Destroy, it's not very advisable to do that. Depending on obviously your playstyle, that could be the best case scenario. But in this case, this was a really okay game for me. I normally really don't like London Docks, as some of you might have heard. It's not one of my favorite maps. I simply just, there's really something about the map that just kind of irks me, the way that all of the action really just gets forced to mid right here where the statue is. Now, it can be fun in some game modes and things like that. However, I really find myself a lot of times groaning and moaning when this map does come up as a playlist. Now, as you can see, we did make very quick work. So at this point, our team was actually flowing a little bit better, but it still didn't unsour me from the entire ranked system. I may go back and actually finish it. It really just depends on how I'm feeling. I'm a very big proponent of if I'm not having fun, then I'm not going to be playing it. Now, that's not to say that Call of Duty isn't worth picking up if you haven't already picked it up during the Christmas time or Black Friday holidays, but I'm just one of those people, and I have such a plethora of games anyway that, you know, taking one off the list makes it a little easier on my load. Now, as you can see, I totally did lose that gunfight against that guy, which is kind of funny because I did have almost the exact same loadout. And at this point, I think, well, I got beat. Let me go to my, I guess you could call it a try-hardy kind of setup, which would be with the STG-44. Since it's a fairly simple gun, it's very easy to use and everything like that. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, maybe I'll change it to something else. Maybe I will move it to another class that maybe I don't use as much or things of that nature. As you can see, I really am just not sure about making up my mind. So as you can see, we're spectating my teammates. Now, there are two of them alive and there is only one teammate, so they are doing their best to get in and get them out. So we are up 2-0 at this point, and I am at the bottom of the leaderboard. Now, I'm the first to confess that Search and Destroy is definitely not my forte. I'm a very panicky player for the most part, so it's just even heightened more that we're in ranks because you definitely feel the pressure. Now, with rank play, obviously, if you're not going to know what to do, it's not advisable to get in there or at least get a couple practice matches in with Search and Destroy, Capture the Flag, just so that way you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to be going up against, because this definitely is not for the faint of heart, and it's definitely not for those that are still on the learning curve. Now, it's not to say you can't do it. Obviously, there is no restriction, but you're not going to have a very fun time if you're not prepared for it. Now, as you can see, I barely even moved, and my teammates were already ready and up to go ahead and take them out. Now, obviously, the PPSH seems to be the meta for competitive and for things like that, and I like it as a gun. I liked it in previous iterations of Call of Duty, so I do use it. I don't necessarily think I use it in the same way that some professional or even more hardcore players do. I tend to just kind of put whatever I want on it that I feel will best benefit me, and then just kind of work around through that. Now, this right here, I actually hardly ever use the bar. This is probably one of the second times I've actually used it besides picking it up off of someone's dead body. So I was kind of just zooming in and out on the aims just so I can kind of get a feel of it, of what was, you know, I was to be expecting. Now, as you can tell, I am kind of nervous that we've got one person that's dead, and very quickly it goes now to 2, and now very quickly it is down to myself. So I do see that one person, and I don't take the shot because I realize that obviously in Search and Destroy, every shot is very crucial. So I make sure that someone is by the bomb, because obviously they may be because we planted. So at this point, I'm just kind of sticking around and I'm doing my best to absolutely hear them. So I can see that he's there. I see that I damage him, and I figure that he's gonna come around back. So I go ahead, go around, and there he is, and sure enough, I get the kill. So thankfully, you know, I went ahead and I was smart enough to realize that that's what was going to be happening. Now, a lot of times, if you have a really good pair of headphones or a headset that does give you a little bit more bass and sound, it can be a little bit easier to basically quote unquote sound whore, and I do have Astros, so it did definitely help. Now obviously it's best to try and move very carefully and not to lose your cool. I tend to do that a lot because I always manage to be the last person standing in a lot of scenarios, since I tend to gravitate away from the hop zones. So a lot of times I'm always worried and panicking that people are judging my every movement and looking at what I'm doing wrong. Now, as you can see, I see two of them go in, and this is in ranked, even though I am using a Molotov, since it did allow you to do it, even though it's supposed to be CWL rules. I don't think at the time that this was done, they had officially blocked off Molotovs, but I could possibly be wrong. Now, I did go ahead and get those two guys, and I see that potentially someone was right in there, and I eased in. Obviously that was still pretty messy. In most cases I probably would have lost that gunfight, and I'm actually really glad that I did not. So always check your corners a lot better than that. That is a big example of what not to do, because I really easily could have lost the gunfight, especially if he would have shot the initial second that I got through. Now, we're doing pretty okay. We are at a 5-0 sweep. Now, in ranked, it's going to be just as competitive. It needs to be 1st to 6 instead of 4 in standard game modes. And so just keep that in mind, that obviously if you've won 3, it's not just one more. You're going to have to go ahead and make it to the full 6. Now, I took my opportunity to get that guy with the Molotov, and I go ahead and get the guy behind. I was so preoccupied with the guy in front of me that I did not listen to the guy that was to the right of me. Now, obviously, that's something you really do need to pay attention to during Search and Destroy. As you can see, we very quickly got made work of, simply because we got a little too aggressive, and at that point, the ball is in our court, and we should have let them come to us. But now we're at 5-1. Obviously, the match is still going fairly well, and it is definitely in our favor, but a lot of times in Search and Destroy matches, it very much can go either way. Regardless of whether you're up 3, 4, even 5, I've seen good teams that work together, bring it back all the way, and end out eking the victory. So just keep that in mind as you're playing. Now, with this being 4v4, it obviously does require a little bit more thinking on your part as far as where you want to go with the bomb. I kind of tend to spread myself out because I don't really want to be near teammates, simply because if I die, I don't want someone else to be around me. Now, there's 2 of us left, and there are 3 still left on their enemy team. Now, I'm not really sure where they are. Now, I go ahead and I creep that corner a little bit, and I go ahead and rotate behind me just in case. I believe I heard somebody. So I hear someone get shot on my team, and I come back around to go ahead and take out that guy who was shooting at my teammate. You can definitely hear the "oh" of the person. Now, that's always very important, is always pay attention, listen to gunshots, listen to what teammates are calling, or even what their characters are calling, and those would definitely go ahead and improve your skills that you have, and hopefully give you a little bit more success in ranked play. Now, as you can see, I did pretty good for myself. I did go 9-2, and the guy on top went 10-4. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.